Welcome back. Black August is a time to honor Black resistance and Black resilience, but it's also a time for lifting each other up in Black joy. And right now in hot Atlanta, Georgia, there's an event that is doing just that. Starting today, and running all weekend, AfroCon and the BeREGGAE Afro-Caribbean Music and Arts Festival, they've joined forces for one of the largest celebrations in the country aimed at uniting Black people from around the world. Here to tell us about this amazing three-day experience is AfroCon's creative director, Osei Kweku. Osei, my brother, so good to see you here. This is really two different celebrations jumping off together at the same time this weekend. We got AfroCon and we got the BeREGGAE Music and Arts Festival. Talk to me about each one and also why they joined forces this year.
Absolutely. So AfroCon was born out of the whole George Floyd social justice experience, so to speak, and what everybody witnessed through that and the conversations that were born from that. And then BeREGGAE has been an ongoing experience that's happened or was curated beginning in 2013. And we just thought that that fusion of both of those events together would be a good culmination and a good opportunity to bring the culture together. And of course, connecting the diaspora. I think we need that now more than we've ever needed it before.
You talked about George Floyd. Obviously, the social outcry that came from the death of George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, the killing of Breonna Taylor and others informed a lot of the energy we see right now. But you said we need this now more than ever. In addition to that, are there other things you think that make this such an important and fruitful time for this kind of events?
Well, it's just kind of interesting because obviously prior to George Floyd's murder in May of 2020, we were going into the year of return in December of 2019. And we know that 400-year acknowledgement, has some very spiritual ties. And I think that right now where we are as Black people globally, we really need to really come together. And, and having the Ministry of Tourism from Ghana get involved and going beyond the year of return is really that outreach that's really necessary for all of us, regardless of what our respective backgrounds are, how we identify. We are all Black people. And, I think the more embracing we are of that thought process and letting go of, I might call it seemingly tribalistic thought processes, I think we'll be in a much better place to really move forward as people of color globally.
I like that idea of getting rid of tribalistic sort of thought patterns and processes, really coming together as a single body of people. Obviously, we have diversity, we have difference, we have tribes, but it doesn't mean that we have to linger there in such a way that we're not a collective unit. That's actually one of the things I was wondering about. Like, how does it feel at the festival to have audiences that come from such diverse backgrounds? I mean, these festivals are bringing all kinds of folk together.
Absolutely, man. It's a joy to see this happening. I would say that Black American culture really leads the world. And I think America as a whole, just being what it is, certainly does the same thing. But Black American culture, just in terms of the vibration, the energy, and the outspokenness, really triggered things on a global level. And we saw that, much in the same way with the George Floyd murder and just the outcry that came from that. And it was a very powerful thing to witness and be a part of. And I think that conversation continues. And AfroCon is really about continuing those conversations that take place both publicly and behind closed doors. And I think that these conversations need to be pushed, they need to be had, and we need to be more comfortable having uncomfortable conversations with a lot of different people. And I think that we're well on our way to doing so. And I think when Africans and African Americans really get on the same page, we'll see a lot of change start to happen in our community.
Do you find similarities in the music that Black people are making in different parts of the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the struggle is the struggle no matter what part of the world you're in. And, people who have gone through a similar struggle all identify with one another. But sometimes I think, with us being here in America, sometimes we just don't know. We're not as connected as, we should be to other parts of us. And I think that once we understand that, that connectivity is groundbreaking. I mean, you can go to different parts of Africa and hear the music of Tupac Shakur, and that lets you know how powerful hip hop is and has been for so many years. And I'm saying, you might go to a part of the continent where, radio may not be regulated in much the same way that it is in America. And, they're using the same language that they hear, on these songs. And that lets you know the power that is there. And I think that, it's very important that we acknowledge our similarities as opposed to our differences because, we have so much to celebrate and we are such a unique people and that's the beauty in it. And I think so many people celebrate us. It's time that we start to celebrate each other and really, enhance the love of the skin that we are in because for so long, that has been something that has been used against us. And I think that I'm seeing a shift and I feel this shift. And I don't think that it's a coincidence. I certainly think that it's very much a spiritual thing that's happening on a global scale that we're all a part of and that we're all witness to. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens despite the pandemic, despite all the challenges that all of us are going through, because we can never say that, there's never been a time in history where all of us were going through the same thing at the same time and still had the power to communicate like we've had through this pandemic. So I think some interesting times and probably some of our greatest days can be in front of us.
The performance space at this year's event, it's been called or named the Year of Return Stage. Why that title?
Well, that came out of a collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism for Ghana. And Ghana did intentional outreach to say to the brothers and sisters in the diaspora to come home and, come see your history. And I think, in my conversations with the ministry, I really encouraged us to continue that. And hopefully we may even one day get to a point where, many of us as people of color can, tour these slave dungeons, for free. I mean, clearly, they are historical monuments that have to be maintained and there's a cost to that. But for so many of us, not knowing who we are historically is an issue. And I think that the more embracing that we can be of all of those things, the more different our lives will be. And I think it's very important that we get that education. And again, that olive branch has to be extended. There's so much misinformation that typically is given to us that has us looking at one another with the side eye. And I think that, we need to get past that and start having those real conversations. It's like going to a family reunion. The first 30 minutes to an hour may be a little awkward, but you're looking at individuals that look just like you. And you got to break the ice. And as you begin to realize how much you have in common, you start to really see those family ties. And it allows you to really embrace one another in a much more genuine way. So I see this as being the beginning of that. And hopefully the beginning of a significant change. I feel like Ghana is the gateway to the continent in a very real way for many people or many Black Americans. And I think that, I'm proud to see what they've done with Ghana, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that, continuing that as well. So, it's a blessing.
No, it's absolutely a blessing. I'm so excited. And for those that are wondering, this weekend is also about education, as Osei talked about. I mean, you will see networking, you'll see conversations on big topics, you'll see business opportunities, you'll see, all of the things that come when family comes together to build. So you should be very excited about what's going on this weekend. I can't wait to engage more. Osei, thank you so much for joining me. AfroCon and the BeREGGAE Festival run all weekend from the 13th to the 15th right in Atlanta's Piedmont Park. And the best part is, it's my favorite price. It's free. All I ask is that you wear your mask, family.